You were sitting in the back of a luxury sedan, watching the freezing rain wash over the gray streets of Moscow. You wear a tailored suit that costs more than the vehicle your father drove his entire life. Your watch is a masterpiece of Swiss engineering, your shoes are Italian leather, and your portfolio of shell companies stretches from Cyprus to the financial districts of Dubai. On paper, to the tax authorities and the banking regulators, you are a high-level financial consultant, a legitimate businessman moving capital across international borders. But underneath the expensive fabric, ink covers your skin, stars on your shoulders, a subtle spiderweb on your hand. The ink is not a fashion statement. It is a resume, a binding contract, and a permanent tracker. You belong to the Bratva, the Brotherhood, and in this organization, there is no retirement plan. There is no golden parachute. There is only the work, and then there is the inevitable end. For 10 years, you were their most valuable asset. You built the cyber and financial division from the ground up. You took the operation from shaking down local businesses for protection money to extorting multinational corporations for millions. You routed the payments through complex digital mixers, washed the funds through fake real estate investments, and handed the Pakan, the supreme boss, clean, untraceable capital. You made the organization modern. You made them billionaires. You were untouchable because you were indispensable. But the old Pakan suffered a massive heart attack on a Thursday. The funeral was a grand parade of black umbrellas, expensive flowers, and silent calculations. By Monday morning, the new leadership took over. The new boss is 35 years old, educated in London, and views the old guard not as brothers but as operational liabilities. He wants his own team. He wants absolute control. He is cleaning house. The purge is entirely quiet. It always is at this level. A brigadier in Yekaterinburg disappears after a routine internal audit. A logistics manager in Kazan goes on a sudden vacation and never returns. The math is brutal and exact. You know how this corporate restructuring works because you help design the efficiency of the machine. You are the ultimate liability. You know every offshore account, every encrypted password, every corrupted official on the payroll. Your secure phone vibrates at 3 a.m. It is a direct summons. The new boss wants you at a countryside estate tomorrow evening to discuss the financial transition. You stare at the glowing screen in the dark. Your chest tightens. The air in your climate-controlled luxury apartment suddenly feels incredibly thin. You know exactly what that invitation means. A meeting in the woods. A conversation that ends with a quiet, permanent resolution. You have exactly 18 hours before that meeting. 18 hours to disappear from the face of the earth. But you cannot simply run. The organization has eyes everywhere. They have informants in the police departments, watchers at the international airports, and tracking resources that rival state intelligence agencies. If you run, you become a fugitive. They will hunt you across continents. They will monitor your family. They will wait for you to make one single mistake. And when they find you, the resolution will not be quick. To escape the machine, you must convince the machine that it already won. You do not need a plane ticket. You need a funeral. You must cease to exist. The preparation begins immediately. You do not panic. Panic is a luxury you cannot afford. You fall back on the cold, calculating discipline that kept you alive for a decade. You access your secure terminals. You do not touch the organization's main funds. That would trigger an immediate alert and seal all exits. Instead, you access your personal contingency reserves. You fragment $3 million into privacy-focused cryptocurrencies, bouncing them through dozens of decentralized exchanges until the digital trail completely evaporates into static. You park the funds in a cold wallet. The seed phrase is 12 random words. You memorize them and burn the paper. Your entire wealth now exists exclusively inside your own mind. Next, you need the physical architecture of your departure. Over the last 3 years, anticipating that this day might come, you prepared a secondary identity. Not a cheap street forgery, but a premium ghost profile. A real birth certificate of a child who passed away decades ago, built up over years with a real tax history, a real driver's license, and a valid international passport. The documents belong to an IT specialist named Victor. You retrieve the waterproof envelope from a hidden compartment behind your bathroom mirror. But documents are not enough. The Bratva will not stop looking unless they have undeniable physical proof of your end. You drive to an industrial district on the absolute edge of the city. You meet a man who specializes in acquiring things that officially do not exist. You pay him an obscene amount of cash for a sterile vehicle, an SUV with no registration history, and something much darker, a biological proxy, medical specimens sourced from a corrupt facility, matching your general blood type and physical dimensions. It is grim, clinical, stomach-churning work. You load the heavy sealed bags into the trunk of your own SUV. Your hands are perfectly steady, but your stomach is a knot of absolute ice. It is now 4 p.m. The winter sun is already setting. The temperature is dropping rapidly below freezing. You drive your primary vehicle, the one the organization knows, and the one equipped with their GPS trackers, toward a treacherous stretch of mountain road 2 hours outside the city. It is a route known for black ice, sharp curves, and fatal accidents. You park near a steep, unguarded ravine. The drop is massive, ending in jagged rocks and a frozen riverbed. You work quickly in the freezing wind. You place the biological material in the driver's seat. You take off your Swiss watch, the exact one the old Pacan gave you for your 30th birthday, and place it on the dashboard. You leave your encrypted phone in the center console. You take off your custom-tailored jacket and drape it over the seat. You are methodically stripping away every piece of the man you were. You disable the airbags. You rig the steering column and lock the accelerator. You douse the entire interior with an industrial chemical accelerant that burns twice as hot as gasoline. You stand at the edge of the road, the icy wind cutting through your thin shirt. You look at the car. This vehicle represents your entire adult life. The wealth, the power, the fear, the moral compromises, the terrible things you facilitated from a computer keyboard. It is all sitting in that driver's seat, waiting to be erased. You release the brake. You engage the gear. The SUV launches forward. It tears through the old guardrail with a horrific sound of bending steel. It plunges into the dark, freezing void. Seconds later, a massive impact echoes up from the ravine, followed immediately by an intense, blinding fireball. The accelerant does its job perfectly. The heat reaches you all the way up on the road, warming your face in the freezing night. You stand in the shadows, watching the flames dance against the falling snow. You are silently attending your own funeral. There will be nothing left for their contacts in the police to find except scorched metal, the serial number of your watch, the melted remains of your phone, and enough biological ash to officially close the file. The organization will review the police report. They will assume you lost control of the vehicle while panicking on your way to the meeting. They will cross your name off the ledger. You turn your back on the fire. You walk 3 miles through the frozen forest, stepping carefully in the snow, to where you park the sterile vehicle. You drive through the night, crossing regional borders, using secondary dirt roads. You do not use the heater. You do not turn on the radio. You exist in pure, concentrated survival mode. 2 days later, you cross the border on a cargo ship out of Vladivostok, hidden among shipping containers, using the paperwork of a man who does not exist. 5 years pass. You are living in a crowded, humid city in Southeast Asia. The air smells of street food, monsoon rain, and exhaust fumes. You have a small, unremarkable apartment. You work remotely, doing low-level freelance coding under a third pseudonym. You have millions of dollars locked in a digital wallet, but you live like a man making minimum wage. You cannot buy a luxury car. You cannot buy a mansion. Conspicuous wealth attracts attention, and attention is the one thing you cannot afford. You are extremely wealthy, but your wealth is a phantom, if you spend it. And the ghost becomes visible to the algorithms that hunt for anomalies. You sit at a plastic table in a corner cafe, drinking bitter coffee. The humidity makes your shirt cling to your back. You watch the thousands of people passing by. You survived. You beat the system. You outsmarted the most dangerous methodical syndicate in Eastern Europe. But as you look down at your coffee, the absolute horror of your reality settles into your bones. You realize the true, crushing cost of your magic trick. You had to leave your mother behind. You know she wept over a closed casket. You know she visits a grave with your name on it, bringing flowers to a pile of ash that isn't you. You can never call her. You can never send her a letter. If she hears your voice, she becomes an accessory. And the organization will visit her to ask questions you cannot protect her from. Your love for her requires your permanent, agonizing silence. She will die believing her son perished in a fiery crash. You have no friends. You cannot form a romantic relationship. How do you explain to a woman that your name is fake? That you cannot travel to certain countries, that you refuse to be in photographs, that you wake up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. because a car backfired 3 streets away. You cannot share your life because your life is classified evidence. Paranoia is your permanent shadow. It is a chronic condition. Every time a black sedan slows down near your apartment, your pulse skyrockets. Every time you hear a Russian accent in the local market, you instantly map the nearest exits and calculate the fastest route to your emergency bag. You left the Bratva, but the Bratva never left your mind. You are 40 years old. You have decades ahead of you. Decades of looking over your shoulder. Decades of lying to everyone you meet. Decades of hiding in plain sight, checking your rearview mirror, and paying in cash. You look at your hands. The laser removal process for the tattoos was agonizing, but the faint, ghostly scars remain. A shadow of a spider. The faded outline of an 8-pointed star. You trace the scars with your thumb. You escaped the Russian underworld, but you did not find freedom. You simply traded a corporate criminal prison for a solitary confinement of your own design. You built the perfect cage, you stepped inside, and you threw the key into the ocean. You finish your coffee. You stand up and walk down the crowded street, blending seamlessly into the masses. You are a ghost. And the ultimate tragedy of being a ghost is that while no one can catch you, no one can touch you either. You are perfectly safe, and you are absolutely, eternally alone.